Hello everyone, it's October 12th, 10:30 at night, and this is the second Monday of the month, so this is my video blog post. So the topic for tonight's blog post is, how do we talk about other people? You know, most weeks it's so difficult for me to pick a topic, whether it's for a video or whether it's for my written blog, because I get so many requests, and I do like to get to them all. But in view of the previous debates and so on and so forth, and other things happening with the president's illness, I've been getting a slew of requests to talk about that particular topic. So that's what I've chosen tonight. But before we continue, the one thing I do want to say, because it doesn't make a difference what your political affiliation is, doesn't make a difference what your political belief is. You don't wish ill on other people. You know, I was raised in a different generation than many people nowadays, but there's certain things when it comes to common courtesy and respect that no matter what generation that you come from, you should be able to respect that. So I want to first start off by saying that my best wishes to President Donald Trump and our First Lady Melania Trump. I'm glad they are recovering successfully. I'm glad they did well. This is a very difficult virus, as you all know, and you've heard many different opinions about it from different news medias that are either biased or unbiased. But as we all know, I like to try and keep my post as unbiased as possible, and I will interject my opinions from time to time. But with that said, it doesn't mean that we wish ill on other people. So congratulations, President Trump, and to our First Lady, and I'm very, very happy for both of you that you're recovering well, and I certainly hope the rest of the people that were inflicted by this virus recover as quickly and as well. So let's move forward to how we talk about other people. You know, a lot of that comes from how we're raised. You know, children learn by association, they learn by what they see, they learn by what they hear, meaning if parents swear around the house, chances are the children eventually will do that, because the parents have to set an example. But that example doesn't just end by how they treat each other as parental spouses or how they act or how they speak. It's their mannerisms, what they do, because that is what the child is going to learn by. They're very, very impressionable. They're like little sponges, and they learn things. So if you were raised in a household with parents that constantly talk bad about other people, chances are that child's going to grow up to be the same way. Now, every household is raised differently. I was raised in an Italian household. My God, every time my mother got into a fight with one of her 7 sisters or one of her 2 brothers, I don't even want to tell you the things that were said around my house. But, you know, we were also taught those values, and we were taught to understand the difference of what people say when they're angry versus when they're not angry. So the problem we have today is how people talk about other people. Now, we witnessed that in the first presidential debate. Actually, both candidates were not the most respectful in the world towards each other. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to blame one more than the other, because they were both party to name calling and interrupting each other. And the unfortunate part about that for American people is that doesn't help us to decide what we need to do. But what did bother me the most is when the president was diagnosed with COVID-19. Now, let's understand something, people. And let's be fair to the word fair as it is as a word by definition. Everybody has the right. You know, hundreds of thousands of people across our nation have protested that wearing masks or making it mandatory is unconstitutional. It violates their First Amendment rights. You know, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so I can't say whether that is true or not. But I do believe and do agree with our president on one thing. People have the right to make their own choice. You know, and to some degree, our administration has to trust the citizens of this nation to do the right thing, because we can't monitor the hundreds of millions of people that we have in our nation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you send the right message, you send the data, you send the science, and you hope they'll do the right thing. But that doesn't mean they will. And I think we all know that that's a given. So, some of the responsibility for this falls on the people, not just an administration. Now, the president of our nation, whether it's Donald Trump, President Obama, John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, doesn't make a difference, is the most well-protected person because they're the most powerful person in the free world as we know it. So I'm sure precautions were taken. And oftentimes, as we know, one of the problems is, and this is why we're doing so much testing, is people walk around that are positive and completely asymptomatic, meaning they have no symptoms of the virus. So it's not that they have an intent to hurt anyone else. It's not done maliciously. They just frankly don't know. There's a lot of times I wear masks. Every time I go into a store, I wear a mask. But if I'm in my car with people I know very well, I may not wear a mask. Now, am I taking a risk? Of course I am. But it's a risk that I decide to take. Now, if I'm going to go into a restaurant or a public place or something like that, then I'm going to wear a mask because I want to protect myself and I do want to protect other people. But when we're talking about the leader, the most powerful man in the free world, there's so much protection around him medically as well as physically that we can't even fathom it, and we don't know the half of really what's there. As the president said himself in one of his previous interviews, the medical equipment he saw at the medical center was equipment that he didn't even realize existed. And that holds true for the world. But the problem is when I listen to certain talk show hosts and I listen to other people or I see tweets by people where they wish ill on the president or they make comments as blatantly, I hope you die, or you should die, or anything like that, that is completely disrespectful, and without any reasonable doubt in anybody's mind, is the most disrespectful thing that you could do to any other person. You should never wish ill on anyone, and certainly never wish that they die or pass away. So how do we want to talk about other people? My parents used to say, if you don't have something good to say about somebody, don't say anything at all. And I'm sure that's just not an Italian phrase or from the Italian culture. It comes from many cultures. But it's true. We've all been to work. We all see that group and clique of people. We all went to high school, and everybody was in their own little clique. And who talks about this one, who talks about that one. It's a popularity contest. And, in high school and younger, when our youth is not as emotionally developed, yet they haven't learned enough about life, I can almost understand that. I teach and preach against it, but I can almost understand it. But as grown adults, I have no understanding for it whatsoever. It's despicable. It's disrespectful. In any religious culture in the world, I don't think there's any God from any religious culture in the world that would condone that type of talk. So, people, let me say this. To whoever's ever done this or who's ever watching, talk show hosts, journalists, whatever, people on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, grow up, okay? Get a life. If you have nothing better to do in your life than stand there and do a 20-minute monologue about talking bad about someone, or if you have nothing better to do in your life than to wish someone to die, all right, which is the termination of life as we know it, and regardless of what our beliefs are, we'll find out what's there after life when we get there. All right. But you know what? If you're one of those people that do that, knock it off. Grow up. Comedians, I've seen you make jokes about it. There's a lot of different things that you could joke about as a comedian. Real life world is the funniest thing to make a comedy act out of, because we all live real life. We all make stupid decisions. We all have poor judgment at times. And we all do the funniest things in the world and don't even realize it till afterwards. Make your comedy about that. Don't make your comedy about an illness that's inflicted on somebody. Because, again, there's a line that you don't want to cross, and that line is respect. Respect and values are one of the things that I think have really suffered in our country over the past few years for a variety of reasons, which I'm not going to get into because that's a whole nother blog post in itself. And unfortunately, we're all trapped by the biased media networks that don't report equally, fairly, and unbiasedly. So we're all kind of stuck, and with an election coming up, that's very, very difficult. But how we act as people reflects on us as a society, as a nation, and as individuals. So I say to you again, and I don't mean to repeat myself, if you're the type of person that wants to talk bad about someone or wish ill on them, do me a favor, keep it to yourself, all right? Don't post it. Don't speak it out loud, because you know what? You are amongst the vast minority of people that talk that way. And society has evolved much more than those idiotic type of comments and phrases. So in closing, I hope you kind of got my message and the fact that it aggravates the hell out of me, frankly, that people do that when there's no need for it. Because you know what? Another thing my parents used to teach me and my sister when we were growing up, or I should say my sister and myself, if I want to be grammatically correct, but I'm very informal when I speak, is that eventually, every time you see an old person hobbling across the street, walking with a cane, sick in a hospital, eventually we're all going to be there. And eventually, every single one of us, whether we like it or not, are going to die. Those are the facts of life. That is a cycle of life. So just remember, by wishing death on another individual, okay, how would you feel if someone was wishing death on you when you're in the hospital while you're fighting for your life and you're struggling to survive? So grow up, show a little respect, get some moral values back into your life, and be safe and be well. At the bottom of the screen is my website address. Please feel free to visit my website and also my email address. If you have any suggestions for topics you'd like to see me discuss, please shoot me an email. Or if you have any questions about writing, I love to answer emails. I get a ton of them a day, and I answer every one of them personally. So in the meantime, God bless America. Be safe and be well, and good night.